Audiology, 6th of August 13. Okay, so today was another trip into London for an audiology appointment at the Royal National Throat Nose Ear Hospital. I was hoping that this one was going to be about my Baha or something at all in the slightest to do with my Baha. As normal, me and my mum got the train down to London. This time we decided to stop off at the station for a spot of lunch and then got the famous black cab across to the Royal National Throat Nose Ear Hospital. The cab driver was a tad weird and kept chatting mum up, saying how she looked more like my older sister than my mum, and just kept banging on about that the whole taxi ride. To be honest, my mum was just grateful to get out of the cab when we arrived, even though the taxi driver actually dropped us off at the wrong building. As you have one building which I think is just like the kids' part, also that was what I was told anyway when I first went there, like on the first time I had to go to that hospital. That's where we went, with that building. And then just around the corner you've got adult audiology, which is still part of the Royal National, but yeah. So anyway, we, as guided by me, walked round the corner to the right building, and well, because I'm smart, I led us round the wrong corner and round the corner from that. So we ended up going around two corners, and then we ended up walking back to where the taxi dropped us off, because I decided actually no, it wasn't that corner. I decided it's the other corner. So we walked straight back to where the taxi dropped us off. I went round the other corner, which thankfully that one looked that one looked right, and it was the right corner. We were still early by half an hour to my appointment, so there's no harm done by my poor geography skills there. So that was alright. We then got checked in and waited, and I knew from being told to take a seat that it definitely was not a Baha appointment. As for the Baha appointment, or at least the one I had last time, we got told to go downstairs into the basement and wait in that waiting room. So I had no clue at all what this appointment was for, other than obviously knowing it's audiology. Anyway, I was soon called through by another member of staff, someone I hadn't seen before. And that's something that seems to happen every appointment. Every appointment I have, I seem to see a new member of staff, and I always end up with someone completely different, which that doesn't matter too much. But the annoying thing is that we always end up having to explain the story right from the beginning to that appointment member of staff. Anyway, today's appointment was just a follow-up appointment, just about my hearing aid, to make sure it's working alright and how I was getting on with it and that sort of thing. Just asked some routine questions like how often do I wear my hearing aid, which my answer was most days. How do I clean my hearing aid, which is with baby wipes, which is what I got told to do when I was there last time. How do I know how to turn it on and off, which the answer to that is yes. How am I getting on with it, which is not too bad. Do I need any adjustment to it? So I said I needed it turning up a little bit, and that kind of thing. And then she gave me that really attractive necklace I had last time to wear again, with the wire plugged into my hearing aid, just to turn the volume up on the aid by a little bit more, so that things would sound and be clearer and generally just better for me to hear, which I don't know why, but when it's the fly on my arm, when it's connected to the computer it always sounds better than when it's disconnected. But anyway, it did definitely sound better once being turned up, so that was the main thing. She then asked if my hearing levels had been explained to me, so I said that they kind of had been explained. And so she showed me what was normal on the scale. So imagine that's the line above this line is normal, below it is a hearing loss. And on the scale, all of my levels in my left ear were in the hearing loss section, so below this line. And she said I've got about 20% hearing loss in my left ear. She then showed me from the memory of my hearing aids on a computer that I roughly, on average, wear my hearing aids for about 9 hours a day, which she said is really good. And obviously it's their way of tracking how people are doing, so they can help sort things out and just help people more. So and she said that she sometimes get people who claim they wear their hearing aids all day every day, but when she looks at the memory it shows 0 hours of wear. Anyway, getting back on track, because I know this is going to be a really long vlog and I'm trying to make it as short as I can whilst not leaving any information out or anything. I was then asked about how I've been getting batteries for my hearing aids, which I said to her that we've been buying them, which she said I shouldn't be having to buy them, as they're free on the NHS to anyone who has a hearing aid. But Mum then explained to her about the runaround that we had with the appointments with this particular hospital, as I had to buy a battery due to running out as my appointment was cancelled. And then we got a phone call telling us to ignore the fact that my appointment was cancelled, and then got told it was cancelled. And then my dad got a text with a reminder about the appointment, telling me I was supposed to be attending. So Mum rang them, and they said it had been cancelled, and I had no record of me having any appointments that day on their computer, and to ignore the text. But then a few days after the appointment that I was supposed to have had, I then got a letter telling me that I'd failed to turn up, so hence why I'd run out of batteries ages ago and had to go out and buy new ones. The audiologist was actually quite apologetic about it, and so this time she gave me extra batteries, even though she wasn't supposed to, just in case it happens again, sort of thing, and to save us having to pay for them or travel down for more. She also said that we can send my hearing aid book off to them, and they will send me some batteries in the post, which would be more helpful and obviously handy for us, so I haven't got to keep paying for them and I haven't got to keep going to London to get them. Mum then asked what my next appointment was, for in November, as we had no idea what that was about and hadn't heard back about the Baha since I saw Mr. Joseph in January this year. The audiologist was kind enough to get it up on her computer and have a look for us and find out. And she said that the appointment I've got in November is with Dr. Chan, who is one of the consultants. And I explained how I'd already seen her, as she was the one who referred me to see Mr. Joseph about the Baha. She felt I was a good candidate for Baha. And the audiologist said she didn't know or understand then why we had an appointment to see Dr. Chan again in November. So that's quite fun. That was obviously handy for us, and then obviously not knowing why I needed to see her again. The only thing the audiologist could think of was that she wanted to see me to do more tests to find out why I've got hearing loss in my left ear, and said that I'm seeing both Dr. Chan and Mr. Joseph for two completely different things, which makes no sense to me or my mum. We can understand the fact that obviously I had to have appointments like I did today, just to check my hearing aid and my hearing in my left ear. We know that Mr. Joseph is the one who deals with Bahas. The audiologist knew from looking at her computer I'd already seen Mr. Joseph, and asked what he had said, and seeing if Mum didn't go to that appointment, it's me and my dad that went to that one. I explained that he'd said that I was a good candidate for Baha surgery, and that I'd get a letter in the post with a date to see him and the Baha team in a Baha clinic for a formal assessment, which would be in about a few months' time, but we'd never ever had that letter. The audiologist said she didn't know why I hadn't got a letter about the Baha assessment, and said she'd go and get someone, one of the other members of staff who specialises in Bahas, as her area is just the hearing aids. She doesn't know about Bahas, and she felt he may be able to shed some light as to why I haven't had a letter or seen Mr. Joseph since January. When she first went to get him, he was with another patient, so obviously we had to wait. When she tried back a few minutes later, he was free and he came in to see us being me and my mum. He's introduced to us as Robert, and he asked if we had met him before, which we hadn't. So the audiologist said that he was a Baha specialist, which he denied being a specialist, but he works the Baha side of things. So my mum explained to him what we just explained to the audiologist, which he didn't seem to know why we hadn't had another appointment made to see Mr. Joseph. He then asked if I'd tried a cross-aid, which at first I said no, because technically I haven't, as I only have half of the cross-aid, which is the left half. And he started explaining about the cross-aid, and I said to him that was the original plan until I could get a Baha, but I couldn't get the microphone attachment onto my right ear, because obviously, I don't know if you can see from here, but there's not really anything it could connect onto. I can only just get a tiny little bit of hair behind it, let alone something clipped onto it. And so the microphone wouldn't attach onto my right ear, and so I was only given the hearing aid for my left ear, and the bit that connects around the back I was wasn't given that half and they said to ignore that half. And he seemed a bit confused about that. So the audiologist explained to him it's because I have microtia, but he seemed to think it would work, as it's only a microphone that would attach, and asked to see my ear, which I happily showed him, as I would anyone who asked or wanted to see. And he then, after looking at my reconstructed right ear and having a fiddle behind it, said, "No, you are right, actually, that won't work," which I already knew, so that's what I'd been told when I had my hearing aid fitted in January, so I already knew that that wasn't an option. Anyway, yeah. He then said how I was definitely a perfect candidate for the Baha, and explained he'd only asked about the cross-aid, as there are now other options, such as that don't involve surgery, as they like to try all other methods to avoid unnecessary surgery. And also because obviously the Baha is really expensive and you can't really get it on the NHS, so they like to put certain people forward for it that they feel are candidates. But yeah, he said in my case it is the only option for me, and I am a perfect candidate. Which he then couldn't understand why I hadn't been seen by Mr. Joseph or had an appointment come through. His solution to this issue was he asked us if we would be happy to see him, and he would show us the Baha, let me trial one on a headband, give us more information and do some of the assessment. But said I will still need to see Mr. Joseph and the Baha team, etc. So Mum asked if this would get things moving and speed things up, which he said it would nudge us in the right direction, get things moving along a little bit, so obviously we agreed to that. He then asked the audiologist if I was seeing who I was seeing, if she could make the appointment for us to go see him and get it for the next available date. Although I've trialled the Baha on a headband before for 10 minutes at Great Ormond Street Hospital, and before being referred to the Royal National due to being too old to have it done at Great Ormond Street, and seeing it there, and also with Dr. Chan, because she showed me the Baha there as well. I still feel this appointment's a good idea, as obviously the Royal National have to do it as well. But yeah, I just thought at least it's on their record, and they can't sort of be like, oh, you haven't done that, or we haven't witnessed it, or whatever, because it's on their record. And I just feel that hopefully this should get things moving. So I have an appointment to see Robert on the 18th of October, which is the next available appointment, which is just over 2 months, so it's not too bad. That's the next available appointment he has. Mum said that when we go to that one, we won't leave until we've got an appointment letter in hand to see Mr. Joseph. So an annoying and frustrating journey of getting there, but fingers crossed, things are now going in the right direction. Oh, also, somewhere along the lines in the appointment, the audiologist was saying to me how I need to make people aware of my hearing loss, like at college and stuff, sitting in front of the class, in my good ear to people when they're talking, that sort of thing. Which, well, to be honest, okay, let me rephrase that better. My better ear towards people when they're talking, which, to be honest, I already knew, as obviously I've had a hearing loss for nearly 18 years now, which that sounds kind of scary when I say it like that, but it's not, it's fine, I'm used to it. But yeah, and I've had that obviously with my right ear, and yeah, and just like learnt to adapt with it, and now I'm just doing the same with my left ear, which we've known about the hearing loss in that ear now for over 8 months. Yeah, I think that's everything. If not, I'll make another video and add it in. See, this is the result of what happens when I don't write my blog. So I always do my blog first and write it on my phone, but this time I didn't because I wanted to read the Evening Standard instead and got stuck into it. But anyway, I'll see you soon. Bye!